as IT professional, even I got a wonderful answer to my this solution, to my this problem, that even IT says that you put I before technology. IT, start putting I, which is me myself, knowing myself first, is very very important before I get on to the technology stuff. And the second thing that I'm going to share today, which is very important, that in Raj Yoga meditation, we also focus upon working upon our own belief systems. You see, in an organization, why is it that, the behavioral studies fail? The HRs in the organizations have been trying to change the behavior of a person. But despite of the fact they keep giving gyan to these people and knowledge sessions with these people, still they fail miserably for a simple reason. We do not really try and understand the underlying belief system behind what they are doing. So in Raj Yoga meditation, we actually work around understanding the belief system of what we are doing. And once we believe, have a clear understanding of what we are doing, that's where you start receiving and getting successful. So we are not just doing things for the heck of it. We are not just learning things for the heck of it. It's science, a science where you get the education which which definitely requires practical. And I'm going to share and cite a very personal example of my own. Well, I am a dyslexic child born to a family of doctors. So, two doctors, and I am a dyslexic child, and my elder brother is also a doctor. So, until quite some time, the bringing up years were wonderful, and the parents were pretty happy to have one son and the daughter, like always. Yeah. And as I started going to the higher classes, the things became quite tough for me. uh, I wasn't able to contemplate things. I wasn't able to read things properly. And the life was becoming a little struggle. And people used to say that, she doesn't want to study. She doesn't really want to put an effort. That was the kind of things which I was listening while I was studying. But frankly, nothing used to go inside my head. That was the struggle I was going through. Until one fine day when I got introduced to this wonderful knowledge, where I realized and I did this first session that I am the energy within, and this is my costume. The car might have some problem, but the driver is just perfect. It's like a smart driver who knows how to drive the car can even drive a broken car and take you to the destination where you actually want to go. Unlike a driver which is into rash driving or not knowing how to drive a car properly, he can even spoil world's bestest car. He can actually break the car. So my dear brothers and sisters, that's exactly what I'm trying to, bring forth. The day I started understanding this wonderful science, my whole outlook towards my life started changing. A child who wasn't ever able to contemplate things, read things properly, the life started changing. And as I said yesterday, it is always mind over matters. If I am empowered inside, then things outside do not really matter, because then I am creating, I am seeing the things as they are. I'm changing the world at large. And we all have that power. God has given that wonderful power, which is known as willpower. So the day you have willpower getting activated, you can bring about huge change in the way you have been doing things. So just to give you a quick recap, we understood about the real science behind human beings, who we are. So the costume as well as the being, the energy within, which you call as soul, psyche, energy, atma, ru, shakti, kuch bhi keh sakte ho aap. And then we understood about the three powers or the faculties of the soul, which is the mind, intellect, and sanskars, or the habits or the resolves. That's what we call. And we also understood very clearly that mind is the thinking faculty of the soul. And then you have the intellect, which is the intelligence, which is actually the judge or the deciding authority, and it also helps you visualize a particular thing. So it does two different jobs, and whenever we are born, God is giving us two very beautiful things, which is, gifts, I would say. One is the intellect, and then is the freedom. So freedom of choice, freedom of choosing what I really want to do, how I want to think, how I want to create things, what kind of actions. I think God has given us that wonderful ability. And yes, through this Raj Yoga meditation, we can empower my intellect so that I take the rightest decisions and not keep getting influenced by the mind, which is constantly trying to, take me to a haywire route. So that's something that we learned yesterday. And then most important thing about, where does this soul resides? So the complete introduction in terms of five things: who am I, my surface marketing, how do I look like, and the seven beautiful powers which God has given us. So and also about the, three worlds, that is about the soul world, where we all come from, the subtle world where the angels live, and then the the world, the corporeal world, where we all are playing our roles like an actors. And we'll delve into this yet more, but let's understand about, so for a while, let's just sit in a moment of silence. I'm sure you had a hectic day. And before I start with today's session, let's just take a moment of silence. Stay relaxed. Let go of anything that is coming to your mind. Tell yourself, it's time for me to go on a journey. A journey into revelation. Now I know who I am. I am a very peaceful soul. I am a happy being. I have the power to create. And so I am the master. And I, the master, I tell my mind, for a while, I'm going on a journey. So stay put. I will attend you after an hour. I will listen to you. I will do what you want, but after an hour. It's my time to know and realize who God is. Om Shanti. So let's just start our journey. Yesterday we came to know about the soul is the master and the body is the controller. And we also understood very clearly that we want to be having knowledge about everything. We want to be pure, which means clarity about each and everything. We want to be peaceful, We want to be happy. We want to be loveful. We want to be blissful, which means my mind wants to be at utmost bliss. And needless to say, I want to be powerful. Now, my question is, where do I get it from? Because you see, whenever we talk about soul, people readily accept it. But when we start talking about God, that's where the confusion comes. And hence, my question is, if I want peace, if I want to have happiness, if I want to have more and more love in my life, I want to have a life which is more blissful, calm, silent, what do I do? You see, there is no mall in the world that I can say, take 5,000 rupees and please buy me peace. Is there a mall? Huh? Ever heard about any mall? Yes or no? Just say, just wave your hand. No. So sister says, Guneet's sister says, no, there is no mall. Is there a place in the world where I can go and buy happiness? Huh? I can enjoy there, but can I buy happiness, which is a sustained happiness? Can I go to a party and buy, bliss for myself? No. So then where do I get all these things from, which are intangible? I want all these things, which is all these seven virtues I want in my life 24 by 7, 365 days in a year. I give you that or not, but I should be constantly getting this. So 24 by 7, 365 days in a year, unconditionally, and I want all these intangible items constantly. Where do I get from? So, for the search of all these things, we went to temples, mosques, agyaris, or churches, or if I were to say shrines, gurdwaras, wherever. I think we've gone to each and every nook and corner outside there. But then, momentary happiness is something which we definitely attained. But still, I found that my hands, which means my intellect, was still empty. Till the time I was there, I was finding it okay for myself. But what if I come back? Do I still feel that happiness, that bliss, that love, that peace, that power, that purity throughout the day in my life? Probably not. So let me first understand, who can give me all these things which I want 24 by 7, 365 days in a year? Who can give it to me? Whom should I actually connect with? You see, no human being can actually give this thing to me. And we need to now connect to Almighty, which is the God, the Supreme. Now, the problem is, whenever you start talking to people about God, you see, as many are the number of people, they have their own different belief systems and thought processes about God. When you talk about Monica, so this is only one person you are referring to who is presently conducting the session. You can't have 10 Monicas conducting the sessions, while so many people do exist, but presently we are referring to that same person. Similarly, my dear brothers and sisters, let's understand who the God is. Because if I really want to empower myself with all these things that I want in my life, I need to be very clear, where do I get from? So, you see, whenever we talk about God, there are different belief systems which people have. And it is utmost important for us to make a thought over decision and first understand what are those belief systems which people have. The first belief system, it says that nature is God, which means in Hindi we say Prakriti hi Parmeshwar hai. Nature is God. And what is nature? We heard yesterday, this is the earth, the water, the space, and so many things that they comprise of nature. So some people worship trees in India, while others are worshipping fire. Some are worshipping river, and they treat Ganges as something which is going to purify them. And the others are giving, holy water to sun, and they feel that this is nothing but they are embodiment of God. Well, definitely somebody who is giving is like a deity. But do you all understand and do you all agree that nature is God? Yeah. Nature has given us definitely so much at all the levels. And day before yesterday, somebody sent me a very beautiful WhatsApp which said that, look, human race has covered nature with plastics. And what in return today nature has done? Nature has covered man with plastic. And they had shown a PP kit wearing people who were all covered wearing that plastic dress. Now, my question to you is, God, whom we know as merciful, He's ocean of love, He's ocean of peace, He's ocean of happiness, He's ocean of mercy. Can God actually harm His children? No matter whatever a child does, can God also retaliate and throw back? First thing. I'm not saying what is right, what is wrong. We are just trying to contemplate and understand. So this is what people believe. The second belief which people have is that souls become supreme soul. There is a child and there is a father. The son becomes father over a period of time, which means the son becomes his own father, probably at a particular age. uh, this son will turn into his own father. This is the belief system of people. In Hindi, we say, Atma so Paramatma. The soul becomes supreme soul. I'm not saying right or wrong. Let's just keep understanding and listening. The third belief system says, Paramatma sarvatra vyapak hai, arthat God is omnipresent. God is present in me. That's what they say. God is present in you. God is present in this bucket. God is present in dog. God is present in cigarette. God is present in fruits, flowers, tomatoes, or the thieves, or the people who are doing robbery, or the people who are doing, murdering somebody. Everybody has God in himself, right? Let's come to the fourth belief of people. The fourth belief says, ईश्वर को ब्रह्म कहा गया है, ब्रह्म ही ईश्वर है. Brahma Mahatattva, or the soul world, which we studied yesterday, is God. The soul world, which is also known as Brahma Mahatattva, in Hindi we call it Param Dham. In certain religions we call it Satwa Asman. Somebody call it as God's home, is God himself. That's what people say, right? The fifth belief says that God is incorporeal. Paramatma nirakar hai. And by that they mean that he neither has a name nor he has a form. He also is shapeless and he's arbitrary. And he doesn't have any attributes. And Hindi, very beautifully, they say, na naam hai, na roop hai, yani vah amurt hai and nirgun hai. That's what people say. The sixth belief says that God is corporeal. He has a name, he has a form, he has a specific form of a deity, or something like these deity like souls. He came in form of Christ, he came in form of Guru Nanak Ji, he came in form of Ram, um, uh, and Krishna, Lord Krishna. He came in form of Mahavir, he came in form of umpteen such high class people. So now a person who was reading this all, he got so confused. He got so confused with so many beliefs, and he said that as many are the people, so are the beliefs. Are all these gods, all these beliefs that we heard, are all these gods? What would you say? Yes or no? Hmm? Do you agree to everything? Yes or no? Just wave your head, I'll understand. Do you agree to it? Yes or no? No. I'm sure you would say, even we feel confused. Who is God? And then this brother, he said that, oh, God is so amazing. He's everywhere, and he is in everything. And I am totally lost. If you really exist, please come and explain. So you see, this reminded me of a very interesting story of five blind men who were taken to a place where elephant used to live. And these people were asked to touch the elephant and tell the people that how does an elephant really look like. So one of the person, he started touching the trunk of the elephant, and he said, oh, elephant looks like a snake. The other guy, he started touching the teeth of the elephant, and he said immediately, he said, no, 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 you're mistaken, my dear brother. The elephant looks like an arrow. And then the third person, who had already climbed the elephant, he said, no, well, I'm touching, he started touching the ear of the elephant, and he said, he looks like a fan, right? And the other person who was touching the tail of the elephant, he said, no, 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 you all are mistaken grossly. He looks like a rope to me. The fifth person who was touching the stomach, he said, no, this looks like a wall. And the sixth person who was touching the feet of the elephant, he said, no, this looks like a trunk of the tree. Now, my question to you all is, are all these things which these people gave the explanation about, are all these things right? Yes? What would you say? Yes or no? Huh? No. Is one right? That elephant is a trunk of the tree, the elephant is a snake, the elephant is a bow and arrow, or the elephant is a fan. Is one right? No. Then what is elephant? Well, elephant is something, a person who has actually seen the elephant with these two eyes can actually explain how does an elephant look like, and not these blind men. Similarly, my dear brothers and sisters, the person who was actually going through, he was so confused, and finally somebody who had eyes explained him what an elephant looked like. So you see, if we were to differentiate between a gold, a real gold, and a rolled gold, you require a goldsmith to actually give you that wonderful understanding that what is a gold and what is a real gold. Similarly, today I'm not going to give you yet another definition of who the God is. No, not at all. And I'm not going to confuse you with that. My thought process says that let us empower our own belief system. I'm going to give you exactly the same kasauti or the same measuring tool which a goldsmith has to understand and evaluate what is real and what is rolled gold. So, for us to understand that who the God is, whether you or me or the nature or the soul becomes supreme soul, we have to understand that God also has to pass through five criterias. So anything that is passing through these five criterias, we are going to give that degree of God to that person. Let's understand what are these five criterias. The first criteria says that God is something which is universally acceptable to all. Be it any caste, creed, religion, age, sex, anybody. Everybody should accept him as God. हिंदी में बहुत सुंदर शब्द है, सर्व धर्म मान्य, should be acceptable to all. The second word says he should be supreme authority. सर्वोच्च है. He is the highest of the high, supreme authority. Nobody is above him. The third thing says that he is a unique personality. Most important. Hindi we call it Sarvopari. I'm going to come and delve into details about all these things. The fourth point says that God has to be knowledgeful. Sarvagya. He is he has the knowledge of everything that is there on this earth. The fifth thing says that the God is infinite in qualities. Sarva guno mein anant hai. Countless, infinite. It doesn't reduce at all. It's like an ocean of love, ocean of power, ocean of happiness. It doesn't deplete at all. So let's now understand and evaluate all the different beliefs of people. So the beliefs are here, and here we have his attributes. Let us just try and see. Nature is God, soul becomes supreme soul, God is omnipresent, Brahma Mahatattva is God, God is incorporeal, God is corporeal, and let's start evaluating them over these 5 points, 5 parameters. And whosoever proves worthy of it, we are going to give that khitab or the title of God to that person. So let's just wait and watch and enjoy. So the first thing says that nature is God. There was a very beautiful song in Hindi which says, "Ye kaun chitrakar hai, ye kaun chitrakar hai." Who is that wonderful creator who's created this beautiful nature? Which says that there is something beyond this nature. And I also gave you an example how nature is getting depleted. Had it been God, can God get depleted in his powers? So this is neither universally acceptable, because I don't accept that nature is God. While I love nature, I empathize with nature, I have a lot of feeling of gratitude towards nature. But do I think that nature is God? No, because today we all say that this corona is again a way of nature to retaliating back on us, because what harm we have caused to nature. So I totally understand and empathize with it. But a God can never retaliate. So neither it is universally acceptable, nor he is supreme authority, because supreme is always supreme. It cannot get depleted. So if all of these are not proving worthy, I cannot accept it as God. Yes or no? You agree with me? Just tell me yes or no. Yes, you agree. Let's come to the second one. The second one says that soul becomes supreme soul. The child becomes his own father. Imagine there is a family of 5 brothers and sisters, and because of some ailment, the father dies. Now the eldest son, he's a responsible one, and he starts taking care of all the younger brothers and sisters. They all treat him like a father. Like a father figure, I would say. But does that mean he's father of all the brothers and sisters? Yes or no? What would you say? He can have the attributes or the qualities of his father. We say that son is just like his father. He's so loving, he's so caring like a father. But can he become his own father? Never. Never. Because it's not a degree that he's trying to achieve. It is not a degree. I can become like Supreme Soul because I'm trying to imbibe those powers from him, which my soul has got depleted with. But can I become Supreme Soul? No, never. The God, there is a son and there is a father. Both of them have two different personalities. When the son starts growing or the daughter starts growing, she becomes like her mother. People say, oh, she just looks like you, resemble your mom so much. The way you wear a sari, the way you take up yourself, the way you carry yourself, you just look like your mom. But you cannot become a mom. Mom is separate and the daughter is separate. So how can soul become the Supreme Soul? Logically not acceptable. So do I accept, is it universally acceptable? Not at all. Is it the supreme authority? No. So if anything proves no, we have to move forward. Now comes the third one. Brahma Mahat Tattva is God. Yesterday, we all studied very clearly that Brahma Mahat Tattva is the place where God and we souls reside. Let's say this is my home. I live in this home. Is home and Monica the same thing? Yes or no? How illogical. Huh? How illogical. That's what you say, na? So similarly, Brahma Mahatattva is the place where God lives. Well, yes, my home will have lot of energy. Like you see the temple and the idol inside the temple. Now, temple is separate and the idol is separate. Now, is idol or the temple one and the same thing? No. But yes, my home would definitely have that energy, that power would be there. But definitely that's not me. If you want to meet me, you can come to my home, but then you'll have to speak to me and not to my home. So, Brahma Tattva is neither universally acceptable. It is only Brahma yogis who believe that Brahma Mahatattva is God. So, neither universally acceptable nor supreme authority, and leave behind a unique personality. It's not a personality. Home doesn't have a personality. Personality is of the people. So, let's keep moving ahead. So that's the Brahma Mahatattva or the soul world where Supreme lives and the souls also live, but that cannot be God. So home is separate and the person is separate. Now coming to the fourth belief, which is God is omnipresent. And this is the most sought after belief. And let's understand it very clearly. What does omnipresent means? That Hindi में बहुत सुंदर शब्द है, सर्वत्र व्यापक है. It is everywhere. You are God, I am God, everything is God. My remote has God, my phone has God, the person who is doing rape, the rapist has God, the thief has God. Amazing thought process. Wow. If I put on the AC, I start feeling the cold. I start feeling suddenly the change in atmosphere. Had God been here, had God be in myself, or has, just in case if the God resides even in a thief or the person who's doing the rape, who's doing a wrong act, then was the God sleeping? What was he doing sitting inside? Imagine your two children fighting in front of you. Would you let them keep fighting? What would you do? You'll immediately go and ask them, hey, what is the problem, buddy? Why are you both fighting? That's what you'll go and say, no? Similarly, if God would have been inside us, and as is, you see, whenever two people are talking, they say, Upar wala jane, which means God knows. They never say God knows. Huh? Whenever we have to speak, whatever where do we actually point the finger? We say, God knows. He knows. I don't know. He knows. Who is he? Somebody sitting above. Had he be sitting in myself or in my phone, I would have said, he knows. We never do that. Let's be logical in our approach, because that we have heard these things umpteen times and we keep saying whatever has been taught to us for years together. Let us today have that guts to question those belief systems which we have been just listening and abiding by. So, the second thing and the most profound thing that we have learned in our, Shastras, which says very clearly, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyam. Arthat, which means very clearly, and this is a most famous shloka of Gita, which says, when there is too much of deterioration, when everybody is fighting and every home becomes like a kalyuk, everybody is fighting badly, that is when I incarnate myself and give you this wonderful knowledge about who I really am and who you really are. So which very clearly says he doesn't exist here. He's somebody who is coming from above. He's somebody who's coming from above, and when he comes, he tells us about our own true identity. So, God is not omnipresent. Let's be very clear. Had God been here, then we should have felt his presence. Why is it that world is deteriorating? Why can God not, cure everything? Why is it that corona is just growing and multiplying like a wildfire? I think if God was here, let God take the control and take away all the pain and sorrow. So let's understand that God is not omnipresent. The fifth one says that God is incorporeal. And as I said, that people believed that he neither, by saying that God is incorporeal, their thought process was that neither he has a name, incorporeal for them was, neither he has a name, nor he has a form, nor he has a shape. He is just an arbitrary thing. My dear brothers and sisters, if there is a thing which is arbitrary, he which never exists, which doesn't have a name, which doesn't have a form, which, why would we ever talk about that thing? Today also, if we talk about air, I know we cannot see air, but still there is every chance and every possibility, and in fact that happens also. Even an artist can show air in his painting. So air exists because we can feel it. Similarly, when they say God is incorporeal, I'm going to give you a very simple example. I have put two rooms here. This is one room and this is the second room. One of you request to unmute yourself. Guneet sister, would you want to unmute yourself? Yeah. If I have to ask you this question, that can you see the two rooms here?
Yes.
You can see the two rooms. Can you see the table and the things which are lying in this room, which is slightly dark?
Yes, I can see the table.
You can see the table. Anything else that you can see in this room?
Yes.
If you could just let me know, what is it that you can see in this room?
There is a computer and there's a stool and there's a vase
Very
and a
good.
table
Thank you
lamp.
so much. Wonderful. Very rightly said. Okay. Now, if I were to talk about this second room, what are the things which are lying in this room, the second room?
This is a brightly lit drawing room with a sofa, cushions, wall hanging.
Lovely. Wonderful. Now, if I were to say that this is a dark room, and this is very nicely said by you, a much brighter room or very well lit room, huh? Is that right? Is my statement right? Yes. Yeah. So now the thing is, this is a very beautiful comparisоnism. When I say God is incorporeal, which means that he doesn't have a form like me, he doesn't have the form like us, he's not a body, but he definitely has a name, he definitely has a form also. but that form is much more unique than us. If I say this is a dark room, then yes, this is a dark room as compared to this room. Or I say there is no light, but yes, I can still see the things here. So no light vis-a-vis this room, because this room is brightly lit. Similarly, my dear brothers and sisters, when I say that, God is corporeal, people have said God is corporeal, by them they meant that they have a form. Well, these people who came in form were all messengers of God, which we are going to see now. But when I say God is incorporeal, it means he doesn't have the form like us. And this is universally accepted. Let us just delve into this particular one, which everybody has accepted worldwide. So let's say you have the physical children. These physical children would resemble the physical parents. Similarly, yesterday we all studied very clearly and understood and agreed it very clearly, be it any caste, creed, religion, sex, age, or any sect that you are coming from. Everybody has a soul within, a point of light and might that is shining in the center of everybody's forehead. And this point of light and might is eternal, immortal, imperishable being. Ajar, Amar, Avinashi, Chaitanya Satta Atma hai. So if we say that physically I resemble my parents, then who would this soul resemble? We say the soul is going to resemble the supreme soul. Have we ever said supreme body? Do we ever say supreme body? No. We always say, let's remember supreme soul. So let us have the clear understanding of whether he is a supreme soul or a supreme body. So in all the religions, and I'm going to show you with all facts and figures, that you see the soul has his father as supreme soul. We call it Jyotirlingam. Jyoti means prakash, and lingam means a akriti, a kind of a swaroop, or a shape that has been given. Now, this shape of Jyotirlingam is considered to be having the maximum energy, and it is considered to radiate the maximum energy. And this has been all proven by scientists. There are 12 Jyotirlingams in India, and all are considered to be the places with highest energy. In Hindi, the name of the god is known as Shiva, and in Hindi, Shiva means, in Sanskrit, it means benign, kind, and auspicious. Kalyankari, world benefactor. He's ocean of peace. That is how we define him. He's Nirakar, he's Jyoti Swaroop, and that's the reason in Hindi we call a very beautiful saying which says, Binupag chalai sunai binukana, karbin karai karam vidhi nana, which means he doesn't have hands and legs like us, but still he does a lot of work. How he does? He gets it done through us. Through our costume, he gets it done. So he is point of light and might. People either pray him. So he is incorporeal, and he's ocean of love. He's ocean of peace. He's ocean of happiness. He's ocean of purity. He's ocean of truth. And he's ocean of all the spiritual powers. And that's what we all want from him. I remember a very interesting, conversation which I was having in a very interesting gathering. So there was, some very intelligent people like you sitting in that gathering, and there was one chutku sa bacha, who was also sitting, and he had come along with his father. So I asked everybody, if today God comes on this earth and he asks What is it that you want in your life? What would you ask from him? And like everybody, and I'm sure you would also give me the same answers, that we want love, we want peace, we want happiness, and we want, a lot of power and all these things. I said, something else that you want? And this Chutku, he raised his hand. I said, yes, what do you want if God comes? And he says, sister, I want Mercedes. I said, wow, this is wonderful. You want Mercedes. I said, if you get Mercedes, what would you do? He said, if I get Mercedes, I'm going to sit with my father and my father is going to drive it. I would feel very good. I said, okay. I said, if you feel good, what is going to happen? He said, when people would start looking at me like this, I will feel that, my esteem is going higher. I said, okay, what is going to happen then? He said, you see, I'm going to get happiness. You don't even understand, sister. You're so funny. I said, no, brother, I just wanted to tell you that today, what has happened is we've given our remote control of our happiness, of our love, of our peace in the hands of others. If I get this car, I am happy. If you praise me, I am happy. If I get love, I am happy. If I get something, I am good. So what am I doing? That ultimately I want these 7 qualities. And these 7 qualities would be only given to me 24 by 7, 365 days in a year by no guru, no sadhu, no sister, but by only Supreme Soul. It's only the Supreme Energy who is the ocean of all these virtues. And we have to imbibe all these powers from God. So you call it, you want the world's bestest home, you want the world's bestest car, you want whatever. Everything is going to boil down to these 7 qualities, and these 7 qualities are me, myself. That's my original and true nature. So you see, in any religion, if you see, people have always called and referred to God as either Father, somebody called him Ishwar, others call him Allah, somebody calls him Paramatma. In India we call him Bhagwan, somebody calls him God, and somebody even calls him Baba. But the best part is, you call him whatever, you are still referring to that one Supreme Father. For example, let's say my name. If somebody calls me Monica, somebody is calling me Monica's sister, somebody is calling me Mona, or whatever. Some in my office they might call me ma'am, or somebody takes my name. Ultimately, who are they referring it to? Me. So you're referring it to the same person. So this God has to be somebody who is universally acceptable, and he is nothing but the point of light and might. Now let's just understand what and different religions actually referred him to as. When we talk about Hinduism, in Hinduism, the supreme soul and the image of the God which people have created is a point of light and might, and they all have prayed him as Shiva Lingam. Whether it be Ram in Lord Rama in Rameshwaram, everybody prayed him as and worshipped him. Even if I call about Shankar, he also prayed the Shiva Lingam. And I'm going to tell you the difference between Shankar and Shiv also. You go to Taoism, they say the path that guides. You talk about Sikhism, they say Eko Omkar Satnam Vahe Guru Akal Murat. Arthat, God is one, He is light, He is the truth. In Judaism, we say the one, the light that guides. They all pray him as light. In Islamism, they go at Makkah, Medina, and there is a very beautiful pathar, the stone in shape of Kaaba. And they pray it, and they call it Allah is light of heaven on the earth. You go to Jainism, They say Siddha Silapati, which means the perfect light. You go to Buddhism. In Japan, there is a red color stone, like a quite like a light, and they call it Chinkon Sheki, which means that he is the ocean of peace. He is a point of light and might, and they keep it around. You see, 2.5 feet away and 2.5 feet above, and they pray him like the ocean or the giver of peace. In African traditions, they call him Supreme Creator, and again, a point of light and might. You go to Parsis, and in their Agyaris, they are praying the holy fire. You go to Christianity, they say, Jesus said, God is light and might, God is truth, and I am Son of God. He never said, I am God. And what happened? We started praying him. If you go to the church, there also what happens is they have a big candle, and then they keep some 9 candles which are little smaller. So what does this symbolize? That God, he is a supreme soul, and we the souls are lighting our soul. And what is this lighting means? That we are empowering ourselves with God's power. So you go wherever, everywhere, universally it is accepted that God is point of light and might. Be it India or Pashupati Nath temple in Nepal, everywhere they have accepted God as one, and he is point of light and might. Today, if you see, everybody said and pointed out at him. But what happened was, all these messengers or the son or the children of God, we started praying him. So it's very important that we understand this. See, the God has revealed himself with his eternal name, and his eternal name is Shiva. In Sanskrit, this means that the one who is ever benevolent, Kalyankari hai. आज कल्याणकारी कल कल्याणकारी नहीं, ही इज एवर कल्याणकारी, ही इज एवर वर्ल्ड बेनिफेक्टर. ही कैन नॉट डू रॉन्ग टू हिज चिल्ड्रन. कैन अ पेरेंट डू रॉन्ग टू हिज चिल्ड्रन? नेवर. So he is the one who is benefiting each and every soul, and hence he has been prayed all across the world in various forms. If you come to India, we have 12 Jyotirlingams, 12 shrines, very clearly. And these 12 shrines, if you see in north, we have Amarnath, in east we have Kashi Vishwanath, in south we have Rameshwaram, in west we have Somnath, and so many others. Now, interesting part of all these shrines is the name. God's name, or the names of all these shrines, would always end with a Nath or Ishwar. Nath or Ishwar. And every name is self-explanatory. Amar Nath, which means he is the God of all the souls, the soul which can never be burnt, which can never be, which can never die. So it's an energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So it is always Amar. Amaratva ko prapt hai. That's how it is. Somnath, which means he gives us this wonderful knowledge, which is like a somras for all of us. And that is self-awakening. So then comes the second thing, which is Sarvoch, which means that he is supreme authority. He doesn't have his mother or father. He is his own father. He is father of all the souls. He is the teacher of all the souls. He is the supreme soul. He is our guide. He is world benefactor. He is our friend. He is our liberator. He liberates us from all the pain and the agony in our life. He is beloved. He is the preceptor, and he is the supreme mother. And he is point of light and night. He doesn't have any mother, father, or his sister. He is always supreme. Then comes, we also call him Shiva Shambhu. Now, in Hindi, Shambhu means Swayambhu, which means the one who reveals himself, automatically comes and he reveals himself and also tells us about the true knowledge, which means he's self manifested, self existing, and the one that gets created in his own accord. And that's the reason you see in every temple, all the deities would be staying at one place, and the temple for Shiva would always be separate. And I'm going to show you in the pictures, forthcoming pictures. Now comes the next quality or the attribute of God, that he is a unique personality, which means Sarvopari. He's free from all kinds of cycles. The cycle of birth and rebirth. He is neither getting created nor destroyed. So he is free from, since he's neither taking birth nor he's leaving his costume. So he is free from action. And if he's free from action, needless to say, he's free from all kinds of reactions and responses. So neither he needs any liberation nor he gets into bondages. He's ever free, ever liberated. He is complete and forever. And that's the reason why we call him Trinetri, which means he gives us this third eye of wisdom, the knowledge that he gives. And that's the reason why you see these three lines which are shown on a Shivalingam. He is Trinetri. He gives us this third eye of wisdom, the knowledge. And then he's also Trikaldarshi. He knows the beginning, the middle, and the end of this whole world cycle. And he gives us that wonderful education, which you are going to learn over a period of time. So stay put, because there's lots to come, and we are going to share all that wonderful knowledge with you. So he is Triloki Nath. He is he is actually heading all these three worlds. So he is head of, or he is head of Brahmalok, which where we all souls live. He is head of the subtle world, and he is also heading the corporeal world. He is the real creator. He's the director. He's the supreme actor. That's how we call him. He is the creator of these three, and that's the reason why we call him God, generator, operator, and destructor. These are the three jobs which he's given to these wonderful deities. Brahma ke dwara sthapna, Vishnu ke dwara palana, which means operation, generation through Brahma, operation through Vishnu, and through this Shankar, he is destroying the negative. These are the three different divine, powers which he has, and that's why we call him God, God. Now coming to, he is the one with infinite qualities. Sarva guno mein anant hai. 24 by 7, 365 days in a year, he constantly keeps giving us. He's ocean of love, he's ocean of peace, he's ocean of happiness, he's ocean of everything that I desire in my life. And that's the reason it's very beautifully said in Hindi that if you have to write about God and you make this whole forest as your own pencil, and you use this ink as the complete ocean, and Swayam Ma Sarda, jo Sharda Ma hai, which is the the deity for knowledge, if she starts writing this complete praise about God, it is so much that nobody can write it. And hence we say he is ocean of everything that we desire in our lives. So these are the attributes: Sarva Dharma Manye, Sarvoch Sarvopari, Sarvagya, Sarvaguno mein Anant. He is universally acceptable to all. He is supreme authority. He is unique personality, most important personality. He is knowledgeful, and he is infinite in qualities. And that's the reason why we celebrate Shivratri. I'm sure you would not know why we call it Shivratri, because people say that Shivratri means the birthday of God. Well, very rightly said, Shivratri means the birthday of God. But even even today, whenever a child is born, and let's say if the child is born at night, we still say that today is my birthday. We never say today is my birth night. Then why for Lord Shiva we always say that it is night? For a simple reason. He incarnates at the time when the world is going through a turmoil, when every home has a Duryodhana or a Dushyasana or a Shakuni residing. What is a Duryodhana? Somebody who doesn't know how to use his wealth in a proper way. Dushyasana, that the real art of living has gone away from my life, and there is nothing, there is no culture or a mannerism which is left in the way I am dealing with my life. Who symbolizes Shakuni? Shakuni is residing everywhere. These are those people who are always trying to create fight amongst the family or fight everywhere. And that's how the world has become. So the world today has deteriorated so much that it looks like all darkness everywhere. There is no safety, there is no love, there is no peace, there is no equality. And let's just keep going back to our original basics and the dream that we had for our own life. So God says, I come and incarnate in those times when everything is going through a big turmoil. And when I come, I educate all of you and bring about that huge transformation. And I tell you about who you really are. We all thought that all this while we are body. We were working for body, we were feeding body, we were decorating bodies, and we forgot that we are not this body. Finally, a day comes and we go and burn the body and never realized that we are something within. That within us, which is driving this costume, God says, you are my children, my dear angels. You all are souls. So you can have all deities. You can have umpteen Mahatmas. You can have umpteen good souls. You can have umpteen pious souls. But Supreme Soul is only one. Check for yourself. And he is nothing but the point of light and night. So then let's also understand why Shiv Ki Pindi is always kept separate. Because you see, he is father of all the deities. And hence we always keep his but temple is always separate as compared to all others. And then we also say Shiva Shambhu, so he gets pragated. So he comes and incarnates, and he gives he gives the complete knowledge. And that's the reason always a Shiv temple would have a gumbad. I don't know the English of that, but it's like a tomb. Yeah, it's like a tomb. Beneath that tomb you always keep the Shiva lingam, and it's slightly beneath, thoda sa jhuka hua hota hai. There's a subtle depth which you actually give to this Shiv temple. That's very important. And you see, I will also tell you one more interesting point, that deities, all the um, I would say the pictures of the deities, or the idols of the deities, are brought within through through the gate. But Shivalingam is always done as a crane comes and it just puts that Shivalingam. You never bring Shivalingam beneath a gate. That's a mandate whenever you are doing a sthapna of a Shivalingam. Then there are three lines on the Shivaling. and a dot also. What does that symbolize? I told you before, this symbolizes that it is that Lord Shiva is the creator of these three deities, which is Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar. He is Trikal Darshi. He knows the past, the middle, and the future. He knows all the knowledge. Then he is Trinetri and he is Triloki Nath. तीनों लोकों का नाथ है. Then in temples, whenever you are praying Shivalingam, you always put Bel Patra. What is this Bel Patra? It's a leaf which has the three portions. So whenever you are offering Bel Patra on a Shivalingam, it should always have these three leaves. What does this symbolize? These three leaves symbolize Brahma, the generation, who is doing the generation of the souls, Vishnu, the operation, and then which means that he's taking care of those souls, and Shankar, the destructor, who's taking care of destroying all the negativities within us. And whenever we are doing any offerings, there is always a chanting of mantras which is saying Om Namah Shivaya. Now, interestingly, what do we offer on a Shivaling? We are offering something which is really bad. It has lot of thorns. It cannot be eaten. So and the kind of flowers that we are surrendering are even very bad and considered to be very vicious. So we offer Akh Dhatura on Shivlingam. And interestingly, whatever we are offering on Shivaling, you never get that prasadam back. Very interestingly. So you never get that prasadam back for a simple reason. What you are offering is all wasteful on God. So we offer bear and milk, and the milk is also full of water. And interestingly, that milk keeps dropping one by one. Interestingly, and the what is the real logic behind that? Very interestingly, that the drop of that milk which is falling on that Shivalingam, it signifies that every thought we have to remember Almighty, and the thoughts have to be transformed in such a way that they become amrit and they become very peaceful. So drop by drop it starts falling on this Shivalingam, which signifies that I, the soul, my thoughts have to slowly start calming down. What I, the soul, surrender on this Almighty is nothing but my vices, which are the representation of Bear. Bear ka matlab hai vair bhav. All the conflicts that I have, I offer to God. Bel Patra is those three deities. And then finally, that water mila hua milk, that simply signifies that whatever mixturities that I have in my life, I am surrendering everything and becoming a pure soul. Then always you see, we call it as Shiva Parivar, which means that Shiv along with Saligrams. So he is Supreme Soul, and we are small souls which are nothing but the point of light and might. Now, logically, his soul and our soul, the only difference is he has more power and we have depleted our powers. Otherwise, the size is absolutely the same. Now, one last thing which I'm going to definitely clarify is the difference between Lord Shiva and Shankar. You see, this is the picture of Shankar, Lord Shankar, and this is of Shiva. So whenever we show Shiva in pictures, I mean Shankar in pictures, it is always shown as a human body. And the human body which is always praying the Shiva Lingam, which means there is somebody who is much beyond him. Why and what was he praying him for? Praying Shivalingam for? For a simple reason, he got a very important portfolio in the ministry. And the most important portfolio was the moment you open your eyes, the destruction should start. So he was trying to accommodate as much power within him so that the moment he opens his eyes, the destruction happens. While he is Vinashkari, we call Shivling as Kalyanakari, right? World benefactor. If you see, the name is different. Both the names are different. This is Shivalingam, this is Shankar. We never say this is Shankar Lingam, never. So he has a body, he doesn't have a body. He's point of light and might. The names are different, the forms are different, the jobs are different. He's Kalyankari, he's Vinashkari. So that is the biggest difference between Shivaling and Shankarling. And Shankar, they both are not same. They both are two different entities. He is the one who is Rachaita of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, or you call him Mahesh. So that completes our complete introduction of God. Like, when we were doing the introduction of soul, we could understand the name, the photo identification, the qualification, the address, and the permanent occupation. Similarly, let's have a peek inside and understand the complete introduction of God, which we studied today. Is the name is Shiva. Shiv Arthat Kalyankari. The photo identification, he is point of light and might. Like my soul is point of light and might, so is the Supreme Father. The qualification is he's ocean of all the powers and virtues that I, the soul, desire in my life. The address is he has the permanent address as in the soul world. But yes, temporarily he keeps coming down and takes somebody's body, which I'm going to delve later. But yes, his permanent address is he lives in the soul world. And the present occupation is to bring about a transformation in our lives. Because we all know change is the only constant, but transformation is a personal choice. And God comes and awakens the soul and brings about that wonderful and powerful transformation in our own lives and transformation in Kali Yuga. And that's why we say, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavti Bharata Abhyuthanam Dharmasya Tadatmanam Srajameham. That's when I come, when the world has deteriorated. That's when I come and give you souls the complete knowledge and science about who I really am and who are you. So that completes our session on God. Now is the time to take down the homework. So, did you practice homework yesterday? Yes or no? Yeah. Did you? Yes. Okay. I can see some hands raising, and I'm going to ask you the feedback also. But before that, let's just note down what is today's homework. Today until tomorrow, when we meet, we'll practice, we'll have to practice that I am a happy being. I am a happy being. I'm a very peaceful being also. I radiate the happiness all around. I belong to one Father. You see, that's the biggest happiness. All this while we were begging, Shanti do, Sukh do, Pyar do. We were begging. And today, for the first time, we have understood very clearly that we are no more beggars. We are His children. So whatever is His belongs to me. So the Supreme Soul is my Father, and He is the ocean of happiness. And that this particular thing gives me the biggest happiness ever, that I, the soul, I am child of Almighty authority. Right? So are you all ready to come with me for an interesting journey? Yeah. Let's go for a minute of silence. Sit back, relaxed, very comfortably. Om Shanti. As I sit back, comfortably on my chair, I slowly let go of any thought that is coming to my mind. I slowly take up all my energy to the center of my forehead, where I, the soul, resides. Start seeing very clearly. I, the soul, a point of light and mind, the driver within, driving this costume. Sitting comfortably on my chair. Remember how all this while I had been praying God, asking for things. Actually, I didn't know how to even ask, what to even ask Him. And how lucky I am. Today He told me, the child, you are mine. You belong to me. As I am your Father. I am the ocean of peace, love, happiness. Now slowly feel God's hand on your forehead, and from that hand are all these powers flowing out. Start absorbing God's love, God's peace, God's happiness. As I feel they are flowing in me, I'm slowly becoming very peaceful. Let it penetrate in each and every cell, every organ, making me very peaceful. Very powerful. Very happy. Today is the biggest day of my life, and I have understood. I share a beautiful relation with God. He's my Father. As a child, I am the higher of whatever my Father has. Thank you for being in my life, choosing me, empowering me. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om
So I feel.
Shanti. Yes, sister.
So the more you practice it, you start imbibing God's powers inside. And the whole experience is very beautiful and enriching. Practice this as much, and the life starts changing. Om Shanti. I hope you didn't find it difficult.
So, sister, truly a divine and wonderful experience. Thank you so much for that insightful session. God is one, God is light, God is our parent. I think that captures the essence. Thank you so much for unveiling so many secrets of rituals that we performed up to this date, but probably we didn't understand the symbolic meaning behind those, which today I guess all of us gained much more clarity on that. We have 4 questions in the chat which came up.
Sure.
Let's take them up one by one.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The first one is, although I feel maybe this would get addressed in the upcoming sessions, but
Okay.
still, if you would like to give some if you would like to
Sure.
elaborate something on that. So this brother Surendra says that God doesn't take birth,
Mm-hmm.
but Lord Krishna says when there is destruction of dharam, he
Mm-hmm.
comes on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Please clarify.
Very true. Very rightly said. God doesn't take birth because He's beyond these birth and rebirth cycles. You see, we just studied about 5 different attributes of God: Sarva Dharma Manye, Sarvoch, Sarvopari, Sarvagya, Sarva Guno Mein Anant. And Sarvopari says it all. Had he been taking birth and rebirth, somebody who's coming in birth and rebirth has to perform actions. And somebody who's performing an action, he will have to face the consequences of those actions also. इसीलिए बहुत सुंदर कहा है हिंदी में, बिनुपुग चलई सुनई बिनु काना कर बिन करई करम विधि नाना. He doesn't do those work on his own. He is Karan Karavan Har, Karvata hai. He gets it done through his children, right? So his incarnation, he takes birth, but his birth is very unique. Unlike ours, we take the birth from the womb of mother. He doesn't take the birth from the womb of mother. And I'm going to share how he takes birth in the subsequent sessions. But yes, he doesn't come in this physical body to play his role. His role is very unique, right? So if I were to also give you one more clarification, that Lord Krishna or Rama or any such deities, these are all deities. These are not God. God created man in his own image. That's in the first chapter, Genesis, in Bible, very clearly written. So what was that image that God created we human beings? He created us so beautifully that we looked like these deities. But taking birth, rebirth, we have deteriorated and depleted our energy so much that today, look how we actually look like. Eventually, if you see, those people also are human beings like us, with two hands, nose, eyes, everything like us. But those people have divine virtues, and we have depleted ourselves, because all this while we were just taking care of the costume. We were just taking care of the car, filling petrol in this car, decorating the car, rubbing the car, taking care of the car, but never thought that we need to take care of the driver within also. Now is the time when we start taking care of the driver, because we know that the kind of times we are passing, my car is bound to get accidented. So if the driver is shrewd and smart, he can actually steer the car in a smart way. And that's the reason why it's important to learn Raj Yoga meditation. Om Shanti.
Beautifully answered, sister. We have another question, and I believe you answered that question also. So, Sister Sur Anand says, if God is neither born nor dies, then why do we say Shivratri is Shiva's birthday? So I think you just answered that.
He incarnates. He incarnates to bring about the change in the society. You see, there is a home. Let's understand. So there is a place which is an infected place. Now, somebody not within can bring about change. Somebody from outside is going to tell that, hey, listen, this whole water is contaminated. When he tells us that this whole water is contaminated, then there are two options. Either we decant it, or we start filling it with the pure water, which is what is also known as waterfall therapy. So similarly, when God comes, he starts filling us with positivity, and automatically negativity starts going away. So his birth is also unique. We call it a birth, or you even call it an incarnation. That's how it is.
Then Sister Harshita asks that, please tell how come the Supreme Soul
Yeah.
was from which this life and death cycle is endless.
No, sorry,
Uh,
I didn't get that.
Sister Harshita, would you like to unmute yourself? Maybe I think not able to understand what has been written on the chat.
Right. Or else, yeah, let's take another question till she unmutes herself.
Sure. Question number 4. If Shiv is supreme God, then who is Krishna? I think this was addressed in
Hmm.
earlier one of the questions. This is by brother Subhash Devan. Then what is the spiritual significance behind Krishna showing Arjun his Virat Roop?
Hmm. Uh, okay, I will answer this, but yeah, I don't want to confuse you people with too much. But I'm sure these points are going to come. So, very interestingly, all this Mahabharata, or the that complete sambad that you listen, when they show that, when Arjuna was in front of his own kith and kins, he got so perturbed and disturbed that, how can I fight against my own people? These are my chachas, these are my uncles, aunts, and everybody, and how can I fight with them? So the last adhyay, when they say that Lord completed the last adhyay, that's when Arjuna said something which was so profound and beautiful. Just hear it out. He said, Nashto moha smritir labdha gat sandeha, to the Lord. And which means that now is the time my Attachments, nashto moha, have all finished. I have no attachments with anybody. Nashto moha smritir labdha. My, smriti, which means my attitudes, have only and only Almighty within. Gat sandeha. All the questions which I have here have all vanished and finished. So that is the intent of this Raj Yoga meditation too. Today, if you see, our lives are governed by Ravana. And what is the Ravana? I sometimes find it so kiddie that every Dashera, everybody starts making Ravana. And in my childhood, there were only 4 or 5 places or 5, 6 places in Delhi where the Ravana was being burnt. And then I suddenly started seeing suddenly this growth started increasing. Every nook and corner there was a Ravana which was being burnt. And then probably some steps taken by the government, because the pollution started increasing, so they started reducing it. But otherwise, everywhere, I would say not everywhere, but every home, everywhere, you see that Ravana. And what is that Ravana? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moho, Ahankar. All these 5 vices are everywhere. God is not omnipresent, but the vices are definitely. So now is the time when God says, child, I have incarnated. I am here to educate you and give you the true realization about the self. And what is it that you have to really leave? You don't have to leave your home. You don't have to leave your family. You don't have to do any such thing. While doing all these things, you have to stay put, stay safe, stay calm. You have to just let go of all those things which have been bothering you all this while. That is all what we have to learn in Raj Yoga. Leave the negativity on Lord Shiva and take all the positivity from him. And that's the reason why we call him Neelakantha. And they show the Neela, the blue colored neck of his, which is what? It symbolizes that he sucks all our negativity and in turn blesses us with a lot of positivity. That's what God is. Does that answer?
Yes, thank you so much, sister. Sister Harshita has uh, she has rephrased her question. I would like to mention that.
Please.
So her question is that how was the Supreme Soul formed, after which the life began?
Okay, yeah. So, Supreme Soul is ever supreme. He's neither formed nor destroyed. So, like we souls are energies, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So, he is father of all the souls. So, he's the supreme energy. He's the supreme creator. He's the supreme actor. So he can neither be created nor destroyed. So this life is like a cyclic, and I'm going to share, just stay put. We'll just go a little slow, but you should understand each and everything. So probably day after, I'm going to take that wonderful session that gives you the intricate science about all these things. Right? It's a very valid question, but just stay put one more day, because tomorrow we are going to talk about a very beautiful session. And I'm sure you all are very keen to learn what is Raj Yoga meditation, how do we learn meditation. While we have been going into very simplistic exercises and experiences of the same, but tomorrow I'm going to delve in much details. Om Shanti.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sister. We are also intrigued and eagerly waiting for the upcoming sessions. So I think we are overshooting the time a little bit.
Yes.
Uh, so let us conclude today's session and hope to see you all tomorrow for the third day of the Raj Yoga meditation course. Om Shanti and good night.
Om Shanti. Stay safe, stay fit, and stay healthy.
Om